Has he convinced either of you guys that they should pass on Scoot Henderson if the Pistons were in position to draft Scoot Henderson? Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you first, man. What are your thoughts on that?
So I feel like this – oh, man, I have to choose my words carefully because I feel like we're going to get into another Wiseman, Duran, Stu, Bagley situation with that. Very similarly, it all just depends how the ping pong balls fall. If we get 3 or 4 – he's not going to be there, and I'm happy getting a Brandon Miller. I like the power forward out of Houston, Jarris Walker. If we're putting somebody in this system to help the team overall or trading back, I'm good with that. I wouldn't be mad with Scoot Henderson, but I feel like the Pistons have their guys. They can get it somewhere else, and they have what they need. Go out and get something else, get some more capital, and move forward with it.
Nice. So you're saying Jaden Ivey pass on Scoot Henderson, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. What about you, Anthony?
So this is where I'm kind of like a draft sicko.
Yeah.
I would draft Scoot, but I'm trading him immediately to see what I can get.
Okay.
If I get the second pick, I think there's more trade value in Scoot Henderson than there would be a Brandon Miller right now. And I think there'd be teams willing to give you some serious assets, young players, potential first-round picks for a Scoot Henderson because he's kind of that athletic bouncy guard that you see in draft classes like the Russell Westbrooks, the Derrick Rose, the John Morants. That's kind of like the tier where these draft experts are kind of saying what he'll actually be in the NBA. I don't know what he'll be, but, I think if you would ask me right now, I think I would draft him at 2 if the Pistons do get 2 and try to maybe trade down to 3. And then you can get your Brandon Miller, like Mike said, or a Jarris Walker, or a Cam Whitmore, or there's just so many good players in the top 5. I mean, I didn't even mention the Thompson brothers. Like, they're great too. So, I mean, either way, the Detroit Pistons are going to get a talented player to plug into this roster next season. But if it was me, I'm drafting Scoot at 2 and trying to trade to see what I can get for him.
All right, I'm passing on Scoot if the Pistons got. If we got number 2, I'm passing on Scoot. I'm drafting Brandon Miller because when have we decided that a 6'2" guard is more valuable than a 6'8" perimeter player that plays both ways? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like all this time we always talk about length and size and guys that can play multiple positions. You get that with Brandon Miller, and I've seen Jaden Ivey what he's done against NBA defenses this entire season. I am confident that this dude is just going to continue to get better and better. And his game and Cade's game, they mesh so well together. We're going to get that. We're going to get into that later on in the podcast. But, man, I like what I've seen from Jaden Ivey. I have no concerns about him. Even though Cade has been hurt, that's my biggest concern with him is the injuries. But, man, when he has played and when he's been on, he has looked really good. So why would I want to put the ball in both those guys' hands. I'm drafting for fit. That's Brandon Miller. I'm passing on Scoot. I know a lot of Pistons fans hate to hear that, but I just don't think, how like people are saying like, well, look at Cleveland. They drafted Colin Sexton. Then they drafted Darius Garland, but then they traded Colin Sexton for Donovan Mitchell. Those type of trades do not happen all the time. That was just a once in a lifetime opportunity because the Utah Jazz's back was up against the wall with Donovan Mitchell. They knew he wanted out, and they had to get him out. They basically just had to take best offer. And, they got Lauri Markkanen. That was a huge get for them. I don't think anybody thought he would be an all-star. I felt like at the time he was more of just a throw-in player at that. So kudos to them. But trades like that just don't happen. So people say, oh, well, we could just – Anthony, I get what you're saying. You could trade him right on draft like that. Number 2 overall pick is very valuable. But I'm just saying if you draft Scoot and you play him throughout the year and then you try to trade him, I just don't think you're going to get that Donovan Mitchell Godfather offer for him because they're just not always out there like that. And I think if the Pistons say, look, we got to trade one of these guys, that trade offer, the value of it is just going to go down because teams know you have to get rid of these guys. So it's going to – I think it just ultimately puts them in a tough spot. But go on.
No, I'm just saying, like, you never know when, Jaylen Brown wants out. Like,
true.
Let's say you offer Scoot, and I don't know, what are you offering Scoot and, I don't know, Jalen Duren to Boston? Would they take it? Like, that's what you have to kind of think of the back of your mind because as much of the Pistons been rebuilding for, the last 4 years, you kind of have to think in the back of your mind, there's always going to be a star player that wants out.
True.
There's always going to be a star player that wants out because in today's NBA, it's all about ring culture. like everyone wants to win a championship. Everyone's trying to team up with everyone. And I know the new CBA kind of like cock block that, but there will still be players that want to try to compete for a championship. So my thought process with that is I'm going to draft Scoot because I know there are going to be players that, want to get out. Because like I said, I guarantee you there's going to be a superstar this summer that wants out, and there's going to be assets that the Pistons could possibly try to trade.
I feel like
Oh, go on, Mike. My bad.
So I feel like I'm seeing this somewhere in between you and Lance right now, Anthony, where like if we do have that 2 pick and you can trade Scoot, you're not trading Scoot, you're trading the pick. Sure, a team is going to take Scoot with that pick. At the end of the day, it's the opportunity to draft that high. And I feel like if the Pistons draft Scoot and then attempt to trade him, teams are just going to be like, you're going to be losing. Like, your team is not in a position to win automatically. I'm not going to say that would be bad. I love Scoot Henderson. But they're going to be like, we don't have to trade you at all because we're not going to get better instantly if we have to trade a superstar, a few other assets. And you guys, you have no incentive to trade right now because your team is coming off, 17, 15-win season. And what are you going to do?